to an overview of the Shoretel Communicator. In this overview, we'll be looking at how you can change your view, how you can add tabs, looking at your directory and searching for contacts, amending your mode so that you can show whether you're offline or busy, looking at incoming call routing and call handling modes, and talking a bit about voicemail and personalization. So let's get started with your view. If you go to view at the top of your communicator, you can dock your communicator. So if I dock mine right, if I go into the main Shoretel button, I can return it to normal. I have tabs along the bottom, and if I want to remove these, I just go into each tab and I can click the X. If I want to add them back in, I can go to Windows at the top and click which one I'd like to see in whichever order I like. And this will add them back in. If I want to look at my recent history, if I go to my History tab, I can see recent calls, time, date and duration, whether they were inbound or outbound or transferred to me. I can clear the history by right-clicking on any one of the calls and clicking Clear. I can delete individual records. I can choose which columns I want to see as well. I can also call people back from this History tab. So all I need to do So let's have a look at your Contacts tab. Now I've broken my contacts down into particular teams that are within the business, and the simplest way to do this is to right click and add a group. So I'm going to add a new group called Suppliers, and then I can add contacts to this group. So if I know that that contact exists within our directory, I can just search by name and then add that contact in. If I want to remove a contact, I can right click and delete the contact from all groups. And if I want to remove the group, I can right click and delete group, and it will confirm that I want to do so. If I want to see the details of a contact, I can right click and look at the details. If I do that, it will also hide them if I've already got details showing. I can also right click and instant message someone. I have my contact showing their phone status and their instant messaging status. You can set these yourself at the top of your communicator. So my current phone status is set as in a meeting, but my instant messaging status is set as online. I'm also going to change that to in a meeting. If you'd like to search for someone in the directory who isn't in your contacts list, you can go to the search bar at the top and just start typing their name. Where you have a contact that has these green, or it could be red or yellow buttons next to them, it means that they are on the Shoretel system, and that is a Shoretel contact. I also have an Outlook contact for Ben, which I've imported into my Shoretel as well. You can expand the names using your mouse, but you can also do this with your arrow buttons on your keypad by pressing up and down and left and right to expand or close. So we're now going to look at how we make and receive calls, transfer calls and put them on hold. So the simplest one is just to make a call. And if you've got a contact in the list and it's someone internal and you just want to ring them, just double click. That's how you make a call. What it looks like when a call comes in is this. And at this point, I've got a couple of options. I can answer the call, send it to voicemail, or transfer it to someone else. So I'm just going to answer the call. At this point, I now have some other options. I can place this call on hold, and they'll hear hold music. I can then press the green button to unhold them. I can transfer this call. I can conference in someone with this call, or I can hang up. So if I want to transfer it, I can search for a name and select that person's extension, and I can transfer it straight to them, and that means it will not be announced. Or I can use consult, which means I can announce the call first and let that person know why I'm transferring it to them. If I want to conference someone in, I just click conference and search for that person. And again, I can conference them in straight away, or I can consult with them first. And now I'm just going to hang up the call. Whilst we're on the subject of conference calls, I'm going to show you how to set up a conference call meeting within Outlook. So if I open Outlook and go to my calendar and select an appropriate time and date that suits me and my meeting, I can use my conference button and click create, and this will create a Shoretel conference. And this will allow all the participants to dial in and meet within that conference, whether they're internal or external. And then I can just select people I want to send that invite to. And click send. This will update the Shoretel conference. And that's that booked in. We're now going to look at some of the other options that exist within the Shoretel Communicator, and this is more to do with personalising it for yourself. So your big S button, if you click this, this is your application button, a bit like a file button within Office applications. And if you go down to options, we can look at the options and preferences that exist within the Shoretel Communicator. So at the moment, my incoming call routing is set to my soft phone because I'm working away from my desk and away from my handset. But if I was at my desk, I would have this set to primary phone. Soft phone is available for using when you're not near your desk phone. So if you're a home worker or working at a client site, if you'd like this configured, you need to speak to your technical department. Under call handling mode, you can have it set for different profiles. So I use standard in a meeting and out of the office. And these have call routing and a voicemail link to them. So the voicemail message will state that if you want to speak to a member of my team, you can press 0. And this has been configured in here, and I could change this if I wanted to, so that it will go to voicemail and then forward to professional services. But I may want to change this to another team, such as the service desk. And I can just start typing the name of that team. And select the appropriate extension. Whenever I make a change within my options and preferences, I should also click apply, else it won't be saved. So my inner meeting and out of office also forward to my team. if a customer presses 0 when they're calling in and get my voicemail. Under personalised call handling, you can set rules similar to what you would in Outlook. So as an example, I may want to set a rule that says when my husband calls in, I don't want it to ring my work phone, I want it to forward directly to my mobile. So luckily I have my husband's mobile number saved in my Shoretel, and I can add this and say apply this rule. So when a phone number that matches my husband's calls in, forward this to a specific number, and I can pop my personal mobile number in there. And I can give it a name, and I'll just call it husband calling. And then apply that, and that rule is live. I can then look at my voicemail options and how I'd like to play my messages. I could change my voicemail password. I can record a name. I can look at how I'd like notification delivery options for voicemail messages and where I want these delivered to. You can also set escalation. So if you're not available and you'd like your manager to receive a copy of those voicemail messages so that they get picked up, you can build that in here. You can look at your Outlook integration. So I mentioned previously that I had an Outlook contact for Ben, and that is because I have chosen to import my Active Directory global address list and my Outlook personal contacts into my Shoretel so that I have all my contacts in one place. This is a personal choice and you don't have to do it. One thing that is useful is using your Outlook appointments to change your call handling mode. So this will do it automatically. If you have a meeting booked in your Outlook calendar, it will automatically change your Shoretel communicator to show you as in a meeting. Telephony will show you how your communicator is configured and where your server name is and what your username is. You shouldn't need to amend anything within here. Similarly to instant messaging, this is something that's kind of personal to you and how you want to view it. So whether you want an alert of an incoming message, whether you want to show chats in a single window or separate ones, and whether you want to save the transcripts of those. I said earlier that I have a separate column for phone status and instant messaging status, and this is where I've selected that. So I separate my telephony and instant messaging presences within my view. I can amend my soft phone to use different bits of hardware. So if I've got a headset plugged in, I can change what it uses, or I can just tell it to use the Windows preferred. The only other area of the options and preferences you may like to look at is customization, where you can change your color scheme, but also this first option to start Shoretel when you first log on to Windows. This should be ticked, and it means that it's constantly opening Shoretel when you log in so that you don't have to remember to do it. And that covers our overview of the Shoretel Communicator.